And for Romany romantics who like a holiday with a difference. You can cook, eat and sleep under a coloured canopy, and all the time you're jogging through ever-changing panoramas at real horsepower pace. This is a land of horses and spectacular scenery, so contrasting that you still need a day in the saddle to explore and appreciate such isolated beauty. By now you must have guessed that this is Ireland, the Emerald Isle. Yet you could be in another world, away from the River Liffey and the roar of Dublin's traffic. The new Ireland stands side by side the memories of an age when O'Connell Street was the scene of bitter and bloody fighting. Once a city of violence, but always a city of learning and literature. Trinity College, with its million-volumed library, is today's scholarly memory. A million volumes, but none to compare with the priceless Book of Kells, one of the world's finest illuminated manuscripts. Here you turn back the pages to a picture of Christian life 1,000 years ago. The ever-present past. But forget it if you can, and see Dublin's modern image. A city now of ritzy hotels challenging the rest of the world for hospitality and comfort. And there's even a site to make a mockery of wet weather traditions, palm trees. Dubliners will tell you that tourists only get a tantalizing glimpse of this city from the comfort of a coach. You've got to be here on St. Patrick's Day to sample some of that Irish enthusiasm which bubbles up on the terraces of Croke Park when a hurling match can be a real eye-opener. Who cares if it's all Irish to someone who doesn't know the rules? What happens when you lose that hurley? Well, you still keep playing, fair or foul. St. Patrick's Day is Ireland, with Irish wit and charm reflected in every side street bar. Here's where humour and philosophy provide almost cocktail-time conversation pieces. Yet the flavour of the occasion still comes in a pint glass. Old Ireland, yes, but who'd want to taste it any other way? The sober side to St. Patrick's Day is what Irish folk will come back to Dublin for. They'll come 3,000 miles just to see the shamrock blessed and walk in the O'Connell Street parade behind the flag of their adopted country. They walk past the very spot where in 1916 the Republic was proclaimed. Less significant perhaps to a younger generation who only see the floats that advertise Ireland's latest appeal. It's a commercial campaign with opposition from a world that likes to keep alive the old plodding image of the Emerald Isle. But you can't survive on traditions. And when the invitation to drink a pinter has passed, what do? Take yourself to the broad acres of Phoenix Park, a vast oasis of nature close to the city, yet with all the animal attractions for the young and young in heart. Penguins are well out of their depth in a land where sheep and cattle and pigs are the meat of Ireland's most important industry. Every week you can wander around Dublin markets, one of Europe's biggest and busiest, and still see farmers slapping out a bargain. A nod or a wave is good enough to catch the auctioneer's eye, and you couldn't have a more expert audience than this one. They made it their business to be so, like those other farmers of the sea, who know just where and when to go out and fish for Dublin Bay prawns. It's a lonely and often hazardous task, and you only know if it's worthwhile when the net is hauled aboard. Nobody really minds the biting salt spray and wading almost knee-deep in prawns when the catch is as rich as this. And the audience screams approval. The seagulls get a meal on the unwanted fish, and the prawns get topped and tailed and boxed. And most of them will finish up in a freeze-drying unit developed in Ireland, and enabling seafood, meat and vegetables to be dried and packed for delivery to world markets that have conveyor belt demand. The farmer and fisherman can take heart from a process that ensures freshness right to the dining table. Within 5 hours, crops can be harvested and processed, then stored indefinitely. Yet in all this revolutionary advance, tradition still digs deep in the marshy boglands. Here you realize why tradition and progress must go hand in hand. In a country with no coal deposits, peat isn't used just to keep the home fires burning. It's farmed ingeniously on spongy bogs so vast that you need a private railway system to run them efficiently. Peat-burning power stations, and now Russia has imported some Irish advice on the subject. But when it comes to exports, you can't fool anybody about the contents of those familiar barrels. Yes, a land of traditions, yet how far away they seem as ships load and unload their cargoes along the miles of Dublin's waterfront. This is the kind of commercial reality the guidebooks don't shout about. Yet it's no less important for a country with a full steam ahead policy. Don't completely cast adrift that old image. You can't anyway. Ireland is, and always will be, a land of horses. The sight and sound of thoroughbreds preparing for an early morning gallop at the Curragh is daily routine in the race game. It's this kind of daybreak dedication which has pulled off some of the richest prizes in turf history. You can't tell many Irishmen anything about horses they don't already know. They're even producing tomorrow's champions at the Kildare National Stud. Tomorrow's champions, and as sound a bet as Ireland's future.